The voice of the drum calls. It sings a song of those who came before us and those to come. A song of survival and strength. A song of participation and voice. A song that calls us together. When we come together and participate in the 2010 census, we use this tool as the voice of all our Native people. Our voice. It is in our hands. 2010 census.
And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Wednesday, May 12th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories right here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. Here are the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The daughter of a woman charged in a South Dakota beating death now also faces a murder charge in the case. 18-year-old Jamie McMillan is accused in the May 1st death of 32-year-old Garland Morrison on the Pine Ridge Reservation. McMillan's mother, 39-year-old Sharon McMillan, was charged earlier in Morrison's death. Authorities say Morrison died at the McMillan home after he was allegedly beaten with a baseball bat. Peacemaker and nonviolence trainings are scheduled May 13th and 14th in Bemidjii, Minnesota, in the area there. Citizens wishing to participate in the training and other various activities in Bemidjii related to the tribal fishing rights may want to consider training in peacekeeper and nonviolent actions. 2 nonviolence trainings will occur on Thursday, May 13th. The first training will occur at 1 p.m. at the City Park near the elementary school in Cass Lake, and the second training will occur at 6 p.m. at the Lake Bemidjii Waterfront Park. Peacemaker training will occur at 11 a.m. on May 14th as well at the Lake Bemidjii Waterfront Park. The training is being done in anticipation of Chippewa tribal members in Minnesota exercising their off-reservation hunting and fishing rights guaranteed under a 1855 treaty with the United States. They are expected to fish on several lakes in support of attempts to open up negotiations with Minnesota beginning on May 14th. For more information, you can contact Robert Shimmick at 218-407-0698 or email him at rjshimmick@hotmail.com, and we'll put that email address up for you to be able to read it. The Native Learning Center will be offering information and practical sessions on 5 key areas critical to Native communities nationwide: culture and language, housing strategies, grants, education, financial wellness, and tribal government during its 2nd annual summer conference. Those sessions will provide practical and useful training and education to conference attendees, with the goal being that the skills and training gained at the conference will be shared with their broader home communities. Described as Native-centric, the agenda illustrates a commitment to providing learning opportunities that are tailored to Native people. Some of those workshops include cultural curriculum for the soul, green building best practices, designing a tribal webpage, home ownership education for your community, and many, many other subjects. The Native Learning Center was established in April of 2008 by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. The conference will be at the Ritz-Carlton Resort in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on June 8th through the 10th. Conference information can also be found at nativelearningcenter.com. After 29 years into the HIV epidemic, a federal interagency meeting was held with Indigenous Peoples. This historic meeting focused solely on Native HIV/AIDS issues, with representatives of a national coalition of 30 American Indian, Alaskan Native, and Native Hawaiian HIV/AIDS community-based organizations and programs. This meeting discussed the need for Native inclusion in HIV funding, programs, and service priorities. The coalition's overall objectives were to bring a Native face and voice to the domestic HIV epidemic discussion. The Office of Minority Health Resources Center facilitated this meeting, which was attended by Indian Health Services, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Institute of Health, the Health Resources and Services Administration, and the National Alliance of State and Territorial AIDS Directors. With the induction of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which includes the reauthorization of both the Indian Health Care Improvement Act and the Native Hawaiian Health Care Act, and the release of President Obama's report on a national dialogue on HIV/AIDS, this meeting was timely as agencies are busy with the task of implementing health care reform. Part of this reform will be the new position of Director of HIV/AIDS Prevention and Treatment within the Indian Health Service. For more information, you can contact Sharon Day, and that telephone number is 612-721-0253, or email at smarieday@aol.com. We'll put those pieces of information up there on the board as well. San Diego County's tribes say they're being ignored and disrespected by the U.S. Census Takers. That's the claim in a letter sent to a regional census director last month by the Southern California Tribal Chairmen's Association. The letter by Robert Smith says census partnerships between the tribal and federal governments have broken down, and there's a danger Indians on reservations in that county will be undercounted. He says census representatives even failed to show up to a scheduled meeting. Census figures help the government determine how to distribute some $400 billion a year for various federal programs. Census spokesman Cynthia Endo won't comment, but says officials would like to discuss the matter with tribal leaders. San Diego County has 18 tribes with about 17,000 tribal members. The Obama administration has nominated former Tulalip tribal official Tracie Stevens to head the National Indian Gaming Commission. The Daily Herald reports she's an advisor to the Assistant U.S. Secretary of Indian Affairs and served on boards of the National and State Indian Gaming Associations. Stevens was a policy analyst for the Tulalips and represented the Marysville area tribe in negotiations with the state. The Federal Commission monitors and investigates Indian gaming nationally. Her appointment does require Senate confirmation. The University of Montana plans several events May 13th to celebrate the completion of the Payne Family Native American Center. The center will house UM's Department of Native American Studies, American Indian Student Services, and related campus programming there in Montana. The formal dedication ceremony will take place from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. on the UM Oval in front of the center. Author and historian Joe Medicine Crow will offer the opening convocation. Other speakers include Native American activist Eloise Cobell, Native American Studies alumni John Swan, and the Governor Brian Schweitzer. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country. On this edition of the Native News Update, we want to say miigwech for joining with us today. Come back again soon.